So the idea is, as an entrepreneur, you have to pitch your startup again and again. And, whether you're fundraising or talking to an employee or selling the company to customers, it's just a continuous pitching thing. I'm an engineer, so I always kind of struggled with my first startups at like really knowing how to pitch and what I'm supposed to pitch. And then in 2016, I became an active investor, and I've invested in 360 or so companies. I've lost count. I learned that through that process, the things that I said as an entrepreneur weren't very good. So I've tried to develop like better frameworks for how, what sounds good to an investor, what doesn't sound good, and why it does or doesn't. At a high level, you're trying to get someone hooked in the first couple of sentences. And I really think, when I receive an email saying like, hey, blah, blah, blah is interested in pitching to you, I get a lot of those. So the first couple of sentences make a big difference. Even when you jump into like a meeting with someone and in theory you have 30 minutes, I really think the first 5 minutes is like basically a decision point on like whether someone really engages or whether someone kind of tunes out. So this initial part is like really important. Roughly speaking, there's like 4 big questions that investors want to answer in their head. It's like, how big is the market? Why now? Why your approach is the right approach, and why you, right? And then sometimes some of these pieces are more obvious. So like the more obvious something is, the less time you have to spend on it in your kind of initial opening, right? So if the market size is obviously like huge, you don't necessarily need to spend all your time talking about the market size. If, you're a complete expert on this thing, maybe you spend more time talking about it. So I think it depends. So, here's the initial pitch that I used. I think this is the actual one I used for, when we raised our seed round. So it's supposed to be 2 sentences. It's actually 3. But anyway, there we go. So it says, business banking is a $300 billion market, but banks aren't technology companies. Tech companies will disrupt all of banking as seen in consumer banking already, which at that point, consumer neobanks were much bigger. Serving startups first allows us to grow with them, and they care most about what product they use. So it conveys a few things. Number one, it's a huge market. Maybe it's obvious to people that banking is a huge market, but honestly, I lead with this thing every single time. I just did a Series C in March, and first slide was like, JPMC is a $700 billion company, right? Like, I think the market is like so big that I actually want people to really go like, oh shit, like, even if there's a 5% chance that they'll get that big, I want to be on this ride. So leads with market. Next part is like a why now, which for us is, tech companies have become the dominant way people kind of deal with banking. So whether it's an app or a website, and banks don't know how to build those. I guess it's kind of obvious, but at least in 2017, this was like a newer trend. And then lastly, I talk about kind of our initial wedge and how we're doing it. And that partly also speaks to like why I'd be good at it, because this was my 4th startup. So saying like, hey, we're going to target other startup entrepreneurs made it seem like, I would understand distribution. And so it spoke a little bit to the why me. When you go through a pitch, there's kind of sequential element to it, right? Like the slide 1, slide 2, slide 3, and you're kind of talking sequentially. But I think it's better when you're pitching to actually think about it in terms of like, someone described it as an onion shell, right? So you want each part of your pitch to be complete and interesting. And every next bit of the onion shell is like trying to unwrap something new and juicy to the person listening. So like, as soon as you start, you want it to be like pretty engaging. And like, as I said, you have like a few minutes to really engage someone, but you want someone to like follow you down this kind of emotional journey into this onion. Maybe I'm taking that metaphor too far. But hopefully you get the point. Like, onion shell where every onion part is like super juicy, super interesting, and like increases engagement. And by the time they get to the core of this onion, they're like, how do I invest?